Hello and welcome. This is Lino Tadros, and in this video will be the third and final one for local models for Semantic Kernel. We have done already the one for Olama, and previous to that we did the one for Foundry Local with Semantic Kernel. And the last one, I'm going to show you how to do this with Docker Model Runner. Very, very powerful as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, I have Docker Desktop installed on my machine in here. I don't have any containers or anything like that. And I'm looking at the left side in here and I wonder, where is that model runner guy? All right, I don't see anything here regarding model runner. So if you go click on the gear icon to bring up settings, you will notice on the left side there is something called beta features. Okay, let's click on that. And you will notice that enable Docker model runner. I'm going to click on this guy. Let me turn everything off first and just enable the Docker model runner, nothing else. I'm going to say apply to this guy. And then we'll close. Notice automatically now we have models available on the left side. It's under beta for right now. Hopefully that will change in the near future and it will be general availability. If I click on models, you will notice I have one model already installed on my machine, which is the AI Gemma 3. It's about 4 gigabyte, or 4 billion parameters. It's about 2.5 gigabyte is the size of it. If you want to use something else other than Gemma 3, click on the Docker Hub. And there will be plenty in here. There is the open source one for GPT that was just released. And there is the Quen for coders. There are DeepSeek ones. There is Llama 3.3. I mean, there are multiple pages. You can spend some time here for Mistral and so on. Find out which one actually is the one that you would like to test. You can download multiple ones. I already downloaded the Gemma 3 just because it's about 3 or so gigabyte. It can go all the way to 12 gigabyte, some of these models, so I don't want you to wait. I installed it already in here for you and ready to go. If I click on action in here to run it, now you're already inside of the Docker desktop to talk to this AI Gemma 3 latest model. So I can say, why is the sky blue? Like we always do, alrighty? And notice now it's talking, the difference between Olama and the Docker model runner in here is that when we run a model in Docker model runner, it's not running in a container. It's actually running on the host machine itself, which is a huge difference. It's not running inside of a container, right? A lot of people think because we're talking about Docker, everything will be images and everything will be Docker images. No, actually this is running directly on the host machine. The model itself is not running in a container, okay? That's a big difference between how the other local ones work and how the Docker model runner works. And it came back and it gave me the correct answer. It's all good. So now when I actually did this, I had feeling that, okay, I can go to Semantic Kernel and this will work. I just need to know what the endpoint is. And I couldn't find the endpoint anywhere. And apparently to running this inside of the Docker desktop is one thing, and calling it from the outside, you have to enable more stuff, otherwise you won't be able to. So I'm gonna go back to the gear and we'll go to the beta features. And other than enabling the Docker model runner, I have to say enable host site TCP support, and I have to choose a port. The default, remember the Olama was 11434, the default is 12434, okay, so you don't forget them, all right? And also for the cores, this will be none. You need to turn it to all, otherwise you need to find out where is it going to be called from so that you can put some security around the cores for the allowed origin for where the calls are coming from. I'm just going to say all for right now and will be good. I don't need anything else in here. Notice there is some other things, maybe we'll talk about it in a different video, how to enable Docker MCP toolkit so you can use any MCP available out there. Using the HTTP streamable, for instance, and to be able to bring it in and use it right away with your agents and so on. Very, very powerful. But now that I've used the port, turned it on, and set the cores all, we'll say apply, and I'm in pretty good shape. Now, I can actually go into Semantic Kernel. I'll start my journey for talking to the Docker model runner for just Gemma 3 latest directly from the code. Let's go ahead and do that. First, let's do what we always do. We'll create a brand new project by saying Control-Shift-P. There is the new project. We'll go to console app, and this one will be what, 08, and it will be Docker model runner. You can call it anything you want. It's not a big deal. And we'll click on that for the solution and the project, and we are ready to go with the new project. First of all, like always, we need to bring in the NuGet packages needed. Let me go ahead and get that. All right, and I'll bring in these 3 lines, and you might be surprised. I'm only bringing in the two extensions for the configuration and the JSON for the app settings, and I'm only bringing in the 164, let me change the 4 in here, for Semantic Kernel. I'm not bringing anything like we did before for Olama, for instance, or Azure AI Foundry. You would think that there would be another package to bring in Docker. No. The reason for that is 100% compatible with OpenAI. That means Semantic Kernel by itself will be able to handle that. So all my prompt execution settings will be coming from OpenAI. There will be no difference whatsoever. So I only have to worry about the endpoint needs to be local for the 12434 that I just showed you, and the model name that I want to use. Everything else will be based on the model from OpenAI. Let me go ahead and save this to bring it in. And I would like to bring in also the app settings for that. Let me create an app settings. We'll say app settings.json. Alrighty. And I have to be honest with you, this is the value of this video to save you a lot of time. The app setting.json drove me crazy for several hours to find out the correct endpoint. Let me bring it in. First of all, the API key, this is running local. It is needed by OpenAI, but it could be anything. So I called it no key needed. You can put 123, you can say leave it empty string. As long as there is something in it, that would be good enough for the Docker to work. The model ID is the AI Gemma 3 latest, and that you can get that name from the Docker desktop itself. The one that drove me crazy, of course, was the endpoint. We had to read a lot of documentation, which half of them were wrong, some sample examples, and some of them finally pointed me to this. I was going to put localhost 12434 and that's it. Some people are saying 12434/engines and that's it. Well, all of them are incorrect. This is the way it has to work, at least for right now. You have to say the localhost 12434/engines/llama.cpp/v1, and don't forget the last slash, or you'll have a lot of tea and coffee like me last night. All right. So this is the correct endpoint for the Docker model. I don't know if this will change in the future or not. If it changes, I'll make another video. But for right now, this is the way the endpoint has to look. No matter which model you're using, the endpoint will always be the same, at least for right now. I'm going to say Control S to save this file. And now let's go to the program.cs, copy all the stuff and remove it. And it's exactly the same code that we had before. That is my configuration builder by loading everything from the app settings.json. And notice, like I said, I'm not going to use anything special about Docker Model Runner. I'm just going to use it as an add OpenAI chat completion, passing the model ID, the API key, which is empty, says no API needed. As long as there is something in it, would be okay. And then the endpoint, that's the very long one that has the Llama CPP and engines and all that good stuff in it. But once I create that, nothing else pretty much changes. I'm going to still use the chat history, the completion service. I'm even using OpenAI prompt execution by passing the maximum tokens and the temperature, and even chat system prompt. You can pass it here, or you can delete it from here and put it in the history as a parameter for system message. It will work either way, but OpenAI allows it, so we might as well do it as well. So I'm going to do the attributes, and the code is exactly like we had before. We're going to use streaming, we're going to use history, we're going to count the tokens, even though there are no tokens for this one. So I just left the code. It will still run, but there are no tokens because you're not paying for anything. And if everything is running locally on the host, not even in a container. Alrighty? So the only thing that is important in here is that your endpoint is correct and the model ID is correct and that the API key is not empty. That's about it. Let me save this file. Let me go ahead and do a CD into the new, what is it, 8? Okay, we'll go 8. There you go, CLS. And we'll do a .NET run on this guy. And now I'm talking directly to the Docker model runner running on my machine in my Docker desktop. So that is my model ID AI Gemma 3 latest, and the endpoint is going against the Llama CPP v1. Why is the sky blue? Drums rolling, please. And if we've done this right, it should come back and start answering the question. And it's working. Okay, let's break it down. Why the sky is blue, blah, blah, blah. Once it says rally scattering, that means it's got it correctly. And we are in pretty good shape, and it even has some citation for NASA explanation in Wikipedia if you'd like to take a look at it. And notice these are the tokens that actually were counted, but again, you're not paying for anything like that because it's all running locally on the machine. But it's still, because I'm using OpenAI, it counted all the tokens, but for no reason there is no payment on that. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody what is happening in here, okay? All right, so now we showed you how to do it 3 different ways locally, the Foundry Local, Olama, and now with the Docker Model Runner. Hopefully that was useful to you. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to do another video for you really quickly. Thank you.